Okay, let's talk The Walking Dead, Dead City, Super Dead, Dead The Walking Dead, episode 2 of season 1, called The Dead of the Dead in the Dead of Night during the dead time of day. I don't know. I don't even know what this episode is even called. Who's There is the name of the episode. All right. Who's there? Knock, knock. I get it. Okay, I actually get that now because I'm dumb. All right, so kicking this off, we have the old woman who steals Maggie's bag off screen in between episodes. This is old school Walking Dead bullshit that is stupid, and they need to stop doing it. It would make the episodes better. When something vital is off screen, they need to really have a little powwow and discuss what benefit does it do, and is it stupid and shitty. The old woman stealing the bag is stupid and shitty because apparently they turn around with the little match and she blows the match out and snatches the bag. But the way it's clunkily done between the start and stop of the old episode and the new episode, it's shit. All right, moving on. We get zip lines. This is both a pro and a con. It's kind of cool seeing them zip around and how they move throughout the city, but I kind of feel like we're going to get this one more time in the episode, and they're going to talk about how much world building they do. Oh yeah, ain't it cool how they zip line? Well, we didn't see it much, so I will leave a caveat here. It's definitely cool, but I want to see a little more with the zip lines. I don't know if that's going to be possible because it's probably a bigger budget, to film. This one in this episode was fine because they did this little alleyway scene, but if you do ones that are a little more open with the city, that might be a little more difficult. But I like the concept of the zip lines. I just don't want it to be like we used it once and twice and forgot about it. All right. The title screen I mentioned, friggin' awesome. I loved it. There's this new hilltop, and I had to laugh. It's not even worth bringing up, but the new hilltop is very diverse. I give it a lot of props on that. I mean, it is a no white man land paradise, and I fucking loved it. Fuck white people, right? All right, so they did mention Oceanside, or they called her Oceanside. I thought this was a poor little, and this is real nitpicky, I thought that was a poor thing to put in there because is she somebody who came from the side of the ocean, you know what I'm saying? From a boat off the ocean, or is this someone that came from the community of Oceanside? And if that's the case, is that community still there? I mean, what happened with it? I don't know. I got the view the first time I watched it that she's supposed to be from Oceanside, but then it hit me, maybe he's saying she's from off the ocean, and I maybe it's just me being dumb. That's fine. One other con is something that I talked about called empty interiors and then the photo exteriors. I don't have a clever name for it, but that is just self-descriptive. The empty interiors is, quite frankly, I am going to pull up some imagery to kind of help. Let me see if I have my folder of where the interior is empty. Yes, I do actually. Okay, so I'm going to pull this up to give you an example. Where is my, here we go. The overlay is going to have to take a timeout. So the live overlay is taking a timeout. I'm going to take my little screen and shrink it down some. Then I'm going to move over the picture and put it right here. So, okay, you guys can see me good on screen. Here's the little picture. Here's part of the problem. This is the hallway that they enter. Now, think about this visually. You want to pack a punch when you create a awesome post-apocalyptic visual. We get this a lot in the Walking Dead franchise, and we're already seeing it in Dead City. I know people are talking about Dead City having like a 10, 12 million budget per episode, which I don't believe that. I know where that number comes from, and I think people are kind of warping where that the number comes from the amount of money that was put into the economy where they filmed. And that came from, I think it was the mayor or something said, we love having them film The Walking Dead here. Our economy saw a roughly $70 million influx of money from renting stuff, hiring people, doing this, doing that, yada, yada, yada. And there's a lot of factors that go into budgeting and what goes on in the show and just other bullshit. We need more information. That's not clean cut. That doesn't mean every dime went into budgeting and not something else. So there's other factors. So it could be the budget's more closer to even half of that. We don't know. And saying the economy saw an estimated 70 million bump from a mayor that wants it to look even better for his community, that's just not enough, solid information. If you have better information at this time, I'm willing to hear it. If it's coming from that estimate, though, I'm skeptical until we get something solid. With that being said, this shit needs to stop. I don't care if the actors themselves gotta bring shit from a fucking flea market. I don't give a wild, wicked shit at this point. These interiors bash my head off a steel dick. What the fuck? How boring is this shit? And then we have the photo exteriors. This is something that is both a pro and... Oh, I'm sorry. There's more empty interior. And when you walk into this area, look how empty this is. This is insane. Now, keep in mind, I praised this episode when I did the spoiler free, and I think fixing these problems would take the episode and bump it up. If you thought it was okay, you'd probably think it was good. If you thought it was great, you'd probably think it was amazing. It can only make it better. And I'm not talking about, Ronnie, so what? It's an empty room. We're focused on what the characters are doing. I guarantee you take these characters and you put them in this, wicked looking post-apocalyptic interior skyscraper setting. Guarantee you your vibe of the scene and what's going on and the characters and the world building and the interactions, I guarantee it gets a bump. Because what we have here now is just, urban woods. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no difference than filming in the woods. Visually, this is shit. There's nothing here. Now, next, the problem, it's both a pro and a con. This is similar to sitcom TV, where they show the exterior of a house and then they cut it and fade into the actors on a soundstage, and they're all like, "So this is what we're doing. This is what," and you never see those sitcom people outside of the exteriors because it's far more expensive to film instead of them on set sound stages and whatnot. TV is very similar, even though The Walking Dead feels very different from sitcom TV. It shares traits because they do this establishing shot photo work. Now, what they'll do is they'll take this still image, and they'll do some special effects where they have some birds flying, some smoke here, a digital car driving up the road or something. Usually looks like trash. At the end of this episode, they had a car, the CGI special effects that looked terrible. Well, it's just terrible. Anyway, it was at nighttime too. Anyhow, I love seeing these visuals, but if that's all we're getting for the visuals and we're not getting the characters in those environments, and that's why I say it is a pro and a con, but you're starting to feel like a sitcom TV where we see this establishing shot, but it's only a CGI enhanced or you know what I'm saying? Oh my God. Special effects enhanced photo, and then we cut to them jumping in a window, walking down a hallway, doing some other shit. It's gonna look shitty, Anyhow, moving along, because that's a big problem that I want them to fix. That's one of the things that I was skeptical about when they said they were gonna film in New York. I said, you could probably find my old footage where I said, how much do you want to talk about, or how much do you want to bet that they do all their talking in these real boring rooms, and then the exterior is just one shot that's touched up. Now, moving on, and now here's we don't need them always in the exteriors. That would be insane, expensive to film. But what we do is we need something punchy, at least in every episode. Now, the Negan saying, "Oh, that's a hell friggin' no," when the girl was like, "No, hell no, I'm not gonna take you there." That was a little funny line from Negan. The marshal waking up was kind of stupid. He got knocked out on the ground. And again, I say this because I want better writing, even when it's a positive episode. because some of this stuff is it might not break the episode itself, but you're dangerously close to leaning back on some of those weak and tired. It's not tricks, but it's not even gimmicks. It's just lazy. They're just lazy techniques. Now, the Marshal got knocked out. There's fresh zombies all around. We see him wake up. Now, maybe he woke up on his own, crawled somewhere, and knocked himself back out. I don't fucking know. But it looks like that. It's terrible. It's stupid. No one moved him. You could pretend like someone moved him. That's all dumb. He should have woke up and been in the same spot he was. And luckily somehow didn't get eaten yet, but came close, and then call it a day. Next up, the Satin Chat. This is something that connects to earlier, where the characters, Negan and Maggie, get locked in a boring bathroom. And I love the dialogue here, because Negan's talking about the Croat. He builds up the Croat story. Loved all that, right? But this is very similar to even what The Last of Us did. Remember when Ellie goes on the journey with Tess and Joel, and Tess is like, I'll scout out ahead. They were in this beautiful environment. Then they go into this really boring hallway with like some dirty drywall, and Tess goes off screen, and then Joel and Ellie get a chance to talk a minute. Now, there's no way you're going to get around this stuff for TV. There's no way. It's just too expensive to film, especially in scenes where you got to do touch-up. But this is post-apocalypse. This is the post-apocalypse. I mean, why can't you take some scenes, some scenery that has some vines? Sure, you don't want anything with wind, because if you got to do an edit and you have vines that are blowing in the wind, it's going to screw up the edit. But take something where you have like 2x4s breaking through, a leak happened here, and you have beautiful vines going. Both The Last of Us, which is insane, it probably would have been hella affordable to have some asshole just throw that together and you have it in a part of the background shot. Both The Last of Us and The Walking Dead did that here, and they're probably going to do it quite a bit. And it blows my mind, because I can pay someone $50 to make like a busted out thing that you can put in the back of the frame if I was doing a movie. And it's probably made out of foam. I just don't understand why that wasn't done. Now, the what was said though, and it changes the betrayal, but I don't think it changes it fully. And this is something I mentioned before. If Maggie was to betray Negan to the Croat, it might not have been her plan. She might have concocted that, like, maybe I can lure Negan, or she could still get that plan as a last minute betrayal later on. Like, she doesn't think it right now, but she gets near to the Croat, and then Negan's not with her, and then she's like, yo, Croat, I got Negan, you want him, don't you? Because she knows, so she sets Negan up that way. I mean, that's dark, that's cold, and I'm still hoping for some twist, because again, it just feels a little flimsy having her bring Negan along so far. Herschel was annoying. I know people said he was annoying in the comic, and that was true when he got a little older, but this was annoying in a way where it was cliche teenagers on TV, and I just think they could have done better, a little more complexity there, a little more interaction that had more depth to it between him and his mother. I just wasn't vibing with it. The weapons were cool as shit, a little weird, but let's have fun with it. It's a zombie apocalypse. I like how it's ripping out meat. I don't know how that guy got killed right away so fast by having a chunk of his chest ripped out. Even if it was his lungs, let's get a cool, like, choking on his own blood. He rips his helmet off, he's trying to breathe, and he's just choking on his blood. Do something cool with it, Instead, he just gets a chunk of flesh ripped off on his chest, and he just dies immediately. I think he probably would have died, but I just think it would have took a little longer than that. And again, let's make this gritty, The new character death, I didn't care. The little old lady. It was laughable how he pulled out a nail. I mean, let's pull this scene here, because I thought maybe I was losing my mind. What do I have here? Oh, yeah, this stuff is good. Here's the scene. Is this the bathroom? Yeah. This guy, they show an exterior shot. And then this guy, the bounty hunter, just jumps inside. See, here's an exterior shot. I might be in the way somewhat. Exterior shot looks nice, yada, yada, yada. He walks down here for like 2 minutes. Then he just jumps in a window. This is stuff where it's cheating the shots, and I'm just not a big fan of it. I like what little we got there. And here is... Yeah, see the CGI cars there? That looks pretty bad. Here is... No, that's a good... That's a awesome moment. Here's where they put the old lady down. Look, he's got a little nail. It's going to be hard to see that. Does he pull out yet? I wonder how I can cover up the screen. Maybe if I open this up. There was a scene where Rosita... Yeah, see this little nail here? There was a scene where Rosita had like these 3 like nails on her glove or whatever, and she was punching. It was all badass, but it just like scratched the zombie. And I remember flipping at that point, because you should make it... Yeah, look at that little itty bitty nail. You should make it... He even holds it up to the camera. God damn it. You should make it to where the zombies have more of a threat. Killing them with a nail isn't doing it. Honestly, it should be to the point where you have to damage enough of the brain, so even at times they can shoot a zombie in the head and it just doesn't damage enough of the brain, so they have to do a follow-up shot to the brain. That adds more danger, more threat to the zombies. This little nail, he just slides it into her skull like a jelly, like her skull was made out of jelly. Some of that is stupid. The setup for this, though, I don't mind. I mean, they run into new people. She's even older. I do wish they had a better connection with her and the older lady leading them there instead of she ran away with my bag. But you kind of get the point. Negan versus the enemies. Now, this is probably one of the best parts. And this, I think, was absolutely needed. Let me make sure I'm not... and I covered this before because our characters need to be saved, helped, aided by Negan's type of leadership. I was talking about this way back when the comic was during past the all-out war and in the Whisperers and the Savior storyline. That makes it not only revealing his backstory, but showing how effective his leadership is and why it works. It's vital to making an amazing story. You don't need it. It's not vital to his story, but it makes it better. You can just have an awesome villain, but it brings everything into a more complex dynamic. And on top of that, I think the story has greater complexity and depth if Negan regains leadership powers, but does something different. Because if he's always at the mercy of Rick and Maggie and Daryl and whoever, if he's always at their mercy, then when he shows these softer sides, when he helps out communities and people, you don't know if he's just helping out the person who's going to come out on top, or if he's helping them out because he is in the weaker position and he's just vying for that spot on top until he gets to that leadership role. So that is something, and I'm bringing it up now just because I want the Dead City series to make it there. And then we get the best part. This is Negan taking a what are they called? Barazzi? Taking a Barazzi Nazi? I don't know. And doing the knock, smashes the windows out. The good and the bad in this scene, and I think it's because it's easier to film. See how the guy's like knocked out? He'd be dead weight and he'd be dropping to the ground. Here's an interesting dynamic. I love this scene. You have such an awesome scene. Why would you weigh it down with something stupid as this guy is pretty much unconscious? Now, he's not unconscious because he's standing up. But if he's not unconscious, explain to me how he's just like... Now, I know why they're doing that. It's cheaper to film. You get an extra, tell him, okay, go like this the whole time. And then you don't have to worry about continuity. You don't have to worry about him fucking shit up. His lines, him making noise when Negan's talking or blah, blah, blah. You don't have to worry about any of that. Which, is quicker to film, less this, less that, less worries about continuity. Yeah, fine, but it looked terrible. The beginning of this scene, I didn't like it the first time. The beginning of this scene, I was like, it would lead into like, oh shit, this is Negan. But then this extra is like, and I was thinking in my head, like, it started pulling me out of it. Is he unconscious? If he's unconscious, how is Negan holding him up with one arm? This is kind of dumb. But then the scene gets real badass, and it made up for him being unconscious. But these are those small things that all throughout the episode, they can touch up and add so much more to the episode. Even when the guy is on the banister, he's got a rat tail too. That's a terrible...
Shit, are you kidding me? Seriously? You have...
even him here, it's the whole thing. But then when he cuts his throat and blood rains down, rips his guts open, blood rains down, throws the body over, Maggie sees it even. That was subtlety poorly done again. We should have had more subtlety with, Negan and Maggie noticing each other in that moment. But The Walking Dead has been bad with subtlety for a while. But damn, did I love that scene. They do go off later, talk with these new people, and they kind of join forces to attack the Croat. And the Croat finds the bounty hunter. So we're 2 episodes in, and I'm not sure what direction the bounty hunter story is going to go. Part of me kind of feels like it could be setting up for Maggie having to rescue Negan. I just don't know why he's in there yet. Because what if they rescue the bounty hunter from Negan? It doesn't matter. No, I'm sorry. What if Negan rescues the bounty hunter from the Croat? It doesn't matter. I mean, we don't know enough or care enough, or nothing's going on plot-wise. The bounty hunter right now has me at a little bit of a... we could speculate later about what it is, but as of right now, whether he lives, he dies, whether he captures Negan, kills Negan, I mean, at this point in time, it does nothing but slow the plot down or move it a little bit. Like if he kidnaps Negan, the plot deviates slightly. Maggie has to rescue Negan and then continue with the thing. So there's no real definitive change. If you guys got better ideas, or of something, or you saw something in the trailer, let me know. But right now I'm a little stuck on the bounty hunter. He just kind of comes off as a lingering plot point that will be effective towards the end of the season, but is kind of just, a character they're building on for now. He could most likely survive even and join Negan and Maggie by, entering into season 2. I don't know yet. I'm still keeping eyes on it, but for right now, it just feels a little pointless. That's it. They say they're going to help, and then they snatched a bounty hunter. Now let me move this back. We will go over. Oh, there it is. We're going to go over the poll and see what you guys have to say. I don't think we need any more clips. Yeah, let's get this out of here. We don't need any more clips. We're going to go over the poll, though, and see what you guys have to say. If you haven't voted, I'll give you like 30 seconds. Jump down to the poll real quick and vote, and I'll pop that up on the screen. Matter of fact, I have to actually drop this back down to see it. Let me get a sip and we'll do it. And I hear that. There's a number of people in chat that are saying for them it's just okay. They expected it to, like, good vibes, expected it to be better. And, some people are just not liking it as much as I do now. This is a tricky thing because I see a lot of people where, one episode doesn't change whether they like the season or not. On a whole, people like, I like this episode, I don't like this episode, I like this episode, I hate this episode, I hate this episode, I hate this episode. I thought the season was okay. But for me, if I don't like even half the episodes, but I don't like it in a way that kind of ruin what everything holds together, I don't like the season. Even though I might love, 2 or 3 episodes. Another thing for me is my expectations for The Walking Dead is low. So, yeah, I'm loving certain scenes. I'm really feeling good about episode 1 and 2, because if 3 excuse me, if 3, 4, 5, and 6 are fire, then 1 and 2 are good setup for those episodes. They're okay setup for those episodes. And if those are fire, then that's all. We got a solid season. Great. But if episodes, even though I was so positive on 1 and 2, if 3, 4, 5, and 6 are just okay, it does bring 1 and 2 down. Because again, the promise of the potential for what's coming, it gets annihilated, or it's not there. So as much as I'm into 1 and 2, if the rest don't ramp it up some, my vibes and how much I like 1 and 2 go down. It level out, I should say, because it's based off of the potential of the rest of the season for the stories. I just want to throw that out there because every time we review singular episodes and then we get to the end, people are like, oh, well, you were loving the beginning, and then, then later you were like, it's just okay. That's because each season, each episode as it airs, it levels how you feel for the whole season. Now, let's shut down the poll and see what you guys have to say. I'm going to put it on the screen. I have to get rid of beautiful Jeffrey Dean Morgan in order to show it. Where's that? Live overlay. There we go. So here is the poll. Yeah, you guys can see it right there. Allergies got a little messed up. All right, so Dead City episode 2, 77% positive, 21% meh, and 0 negative. That's listen, I knew negative was going to come in at a low, but that's actually surprising. And you know what? I think I might stick with going back to doing the 3 choices, because if it was positive versus negative, I understand we might have like 100% positive, and that might feel different. But now that we know, wow, there's no negative on this. However, I mean, there was probably 1 or 2 people, but it wasn't a high enough percentage to even count. However, because what is that? That's 98%. How does that work? They only show us 98%. So does that mean 2% was in negative, or am I dumb right now? Yeah, because 7 and 1 is 8. 7 and 2 is 9. That's 98%. Where's the other 2%? What happened there? Wait a minute. What? Wait a minute, yo. Wait a fucking minute. All right, let's go to the chat and see what you guys have to say. Okay, so you guys saw the poll. This is the end of my first impression review. I thought to end my first impression review, I thought the episode had some flaws sprinkled in there. It's better than I was expecting. 1 and 2 was better than I was expecting going into this series originally, and it definitely sets up some serious promise for what's to come. And I think I would have to rate this episode around a 7 out of 10. However, that'll fluctuate depending on how good the episodes are throughout the rest of the season. That could stay at what it's at, but if the rest of the episodes don't really boost much for this, it'll fall back down to a 6 out of 10 for sure. If the setup isn't there, or the payoff for the setup, if it's not there. Because basically the coolest thing would be, the Negan moment. Because again, look at the Croat. I liked hearing about the Croat, hearing about Negan's backstory. But imagine if the interaction with the Croat is just kind of meh, then his story in rewatching, who gives a shit? Because it was meh. You see what I'm saying? So that's why my scoring system and my brain functions that way. But all right, so that's it for this episode. We're gonna get into fan feedback. There is one thing I want to show you guys